welcome to episode 8 of The Real Deal, where real estate meets real life. I am your host, Janine Igliani, with my co-host, Ryan Hatcher, and our guest today. I'm so excited to have you guys, Jamie and Suzanne with StyleHouse Home Staging. Hold on, let me make sure I get this right. And Redesign.
Correct, right.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this will be fun. We are so passionate about home staging and really wanting our listings to come to the market looking their absolute best. And we say this all the time too. We want to show off the beautiful features of your home. And I feel like home staging does that. So you guys are a really important piece of our business and what we do. So this will be fun.
It will be fun.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time because there's so much value in what you do and how it helps us and our clients. So we have a lot to talk about today.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've been out together a lot on
Yes.
homes, and I love the camaraderie and just we're backing each other up all the time
Yes.
throughout the homes. And it's fun to see you in action, who's willing to go way above and beyond
Well,
for
vice
your
versa.
clients. And we love that.
Sometimes we have
Yeah.
to, right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And we do consider ourselves a part of your team.
Yes, yeah, you really are. And when we're meeting with our clients for a listing, we're really explaining that to them, that you guys are a really important part of our process that will ultimately set them up for success, right? The better the home shows, the more likely a buyer is going to fall in love with it, the higher price we're going to be able to get, and all of that fun stuff. But before we jump into kind of some of the nitty gritty of it, will you guys tell us about yourself and how you got into this business?
Oh, you start, I'll finish. You want to do that?
Well, we've been
Okay.
friends for a long time. Actually, before we were even friends, our kids went to high school prom together.
Yes,
right?
they did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, way back when.
Yeah.
So we reconnected or got together. We started, this is a funny story. We actually did a church boutique together.
Aw, I
and we're
love
like,
that.
we really love working together. This is fun, chatting, and did well at that. People were asking, so we moved into repurposing furniture.
Oh,
And
cool.
we did that for several years till we realized we're not making what we need to make.
And it was hard
So
work.
much work.
And then we got our husbands involved and they
Yes.
started painting.
And then they were like,
Oh.
okay,
Yeah.
enough. So then actually a realtor friend said, have you all ever thought about staging? And so it was something, I think Jamie always has these great ideas. We were away together and she said, what would you do if you could do anything? I had just staged my brother's home. It had sold. And I said, that sounds kind of fun.
Aw.
And so our realtor friend encouraged us to do that. That's how I was on vacation. Jamie called and said, hey, I just found this certification. Let's do this.
Awesome.
Wow.
So yeah, that was 8 years ago.
That was 8 years ago. And so we became certified. We really, like, our favorite part of the repurposing
Yes.
was setting up the store and staging the store. And so we knew that was what we loved to do, and just the aesthetics of just making everything beautiful. And so then once we realized like the benefit of what home staging does, when she experienced it with her brother and then told me about it, and we were just encouraged. And Suzanne has more of a design eye, I think, than I do. And she's amazing. And so we kind of play off of one another, our strengths and weaknesses. And that makes it just such a partnership. We're like-minded. Our husbands are very much encouraging in what we do. And we've
Board
now,
members, actually.
They are board
No,
members.
I love it. I
We have
love
once
it.
a year meeting.
Right?
No, we do. And then now we
But they're
have
silent
grown.
members.
Somewhat. And then we have now we have a team. So we've grown. We've been in business now. We're in our 7th year, and there's 6 of us now on the team, and we're getting ready to hire again. So
fun.
yeah, we're
saw your
just so
post.
blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a great ride. Very hard. I think one of the things we didn't realize is we liked the staging part, but wait, this business part of it takes up more time
Yes.
than the
Yeah.
other part. So we had to learn to
Yes.
be business
Yes.
women as well.
That's
Good.
kind of like real estate. A lot of
Yeah.
people get into real estate thinking this will be so fun and easy and forget that there's a whole business
Yes.
side to it.
Yeah. Oh,
You have to
yeah.
manage your expenses, pay
Right.
taxes.
Pay taxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because fairly often, I'll have somebody ask me about staging in the sense that they might want to do that. Or we'll come into a house that's absolutely beautiful and we mention, hey, have you ever thought about it? Because your house is awesome and there's really nothing else you need to do. What are the skill sets? What are the things required to be good at what you do?
Well, I think creativity, resourceful. Oftentimes in those occupied homes, you have to be resourceful using what they have and still make it look amazing, right? What else?
I would say also, like in the occupied space, because we do occupied and vacant, you have to be able to meet people where they are and have compassion and be able to communicate. Because when we're in there staging, we have no idea really what's going on behind the scenes. And we're in their most intimate spaces, right? We're in their bedrooms, we're in their closets, we're everywhere. And we have to be able to have compassion and meet them where they are. And I think that's just a skill or just a characteristic that goes unnoticed, but it is a huge
Super
part of
important
our
Yes.
team.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the doctor that delivers the message with what is poor bedside manner.
right.
You need to have that, the ability to basically say, hey, this needs to look different
Right.
without offending them.
Right.
So we
It-
use special words, right?
Yeah.
We don't say declutter. We use the word edit. We want to edit this space. We tell them at the door, there's no judgment. Like the way we live is different than the way we sell.
Yeah, we say that
just
all the time. Yeah.
Trying to use words
Yeah.
that are soft,
Yeah.
but still get the point across.
For sure. And we say, you're going to pack it up anyways. So
Right.
a lot of it's just
Yeah.
packing it up
Early
ahead of
packing.
time,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's going to get packed up anyways.
Yeah.
So
You're ahead of the game.
yes, yes, yes. And yeah, selling is different than living in it. And so again, and I think what we kind of in the way that we sell you guys is it's going to be super easy because you're going to go through and tell them room by room what to do to get it ready. So it takes the guesswork out of it for them, because oftentimes we get that where, should I do this? Should I move that? What should I do? So that's super helpful. That's like an added benefit to what we do. And I think when you choose to sell with us is being able to bring you guys in, makes it easy for them, takes the guesswork out of it. But then you guys also have a really great way of showing off those beautiful features of the home, right? And I try to emphasize that you have a beautiful kitchen or you have a beautiful this or that. We want to show that off. And sometimes when there's so much in the home, it can get missed or it can get so cluttered that you don't see those beautiful features, right? And so the staging really allows for that. Shows how the furniture placement, how it can open up the space, like what we were talking about earlier. Staging is really important because people can't visualize what their furniture will look like in a home. And as we also said, right, homes often appear smaller than they are when they're empty versus when they have furniture in them. We hear that all the time. And again, why do you think model homes stage, right? Because
Exactly.
it works, right?
Yeah, and I-
It's marketing.
Yeah.
Staging is really all about marketing, and it's really different than decorating.
Yes.
So there's a difference. I mean, there are elements and there are design principles that we use, of course, and we have to be creative, but it's more of a science. And we are drawing attention to those fixed assets. We're directing where the eye's going to go, right? Instead of decorating for a personal style. We want to appeal to everyone, to the masses, to draw in potential buyers.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there's a huge difference.
Yeah. I feel like people have really caught on to the benefit. When I started 9 years ago, we took a property that was a total, I don't want to be rude, but like a dump. It was really bad. And we redid everything. We have an awesome program called Beautify where we can go in and pay for those expenses up front for clients to put in new carpet, fresh paint, things like that. And then a big part of it for us is the staging. And we did that on this house, my dad's first time ever using a stager. And the first buyer walked in and called and was like, oh my gosh, this house is beautiful. We have to get it. Okay, we end up going under contract with them. We close with them. Staging's removed. They come for the final walkthrough and they're noticing all of these things.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm saying to them, that was all there. But because of the staging, right, they were so in awe and enamored, they didn't notice any of those imperfections. And that's another benefit of staging is it kind of hides some of those imperfections because you're not paying attention to them.
Right. Right.
Well, like you said, more people are doing it, and you mentioned even investors are doing it now much more than they ever did because
are.
they see the benefit.
They
Always,
do.
yeah. In every market, right? It benefits.
Always.
But in this market, you've got
100%.
You have to.
You have
You
Yes.
have to in this market. And we've had the privilege of seeing what you provide for your home sellers. And it's not what every realtor provides. It's what good realtors
Oh, thank
top
you.
Well,
of the
differentiates you.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does differentiate.
I remember
differentiate
our
you guys.
conversations in the market that we just came from where
Yeah.
things were selling so fast, right? And then Buckeye's a great example of that, where we didn't really have to do it, but we did, and they made a lot more money, right?
They
And I'm
did.
really proud of that. not to toot our own horn, but
we
we
didn't
never,
skimp.
we
Yeah.
didn't, we never did, we never deviated from the process.
But
We
could
always-
you have
we
right
could
then?
have.
You could
Easily.
have, but
Right?
you were built. That's
Right.
not how you work.
Right, because ultimately the seller is the one, right, will either hurt or benefit. They'll
Right.
either
So-
suffer or benefit from that. And in Ryan's example
Let's
with
talk about
Buckeye,
it. Let's talk about it. So
that was a lot of money.
here are the hard numbers, and this is where it gets real. So this was a gentleman that I had known for years, and he had a 5-bedroom, 2-story home in Buckeye, and he said, I need to sell it, and it's going to be part of my retirement fund. So I go out and look at it, and it's pretty much vacant. It's not very clean. All the walls in every room were different colors, and we're talking every Southwest color you can think of, and just it needed some updating. The kitchen was pretty outdated as well, and so I sent you guys out. And
I think Suzanne did
Yeah,
that.
you did it. Yeah,
presentation. Yeah.
and I'll never forget this. He said, "Ryan, I don't spend I've never spent $3,400 on furniture that I kept, and I'm not keeping this stuff." And I said, "You got to trust me." So he ended up spending about $12,000 total. We painted the whole interior, we cleaned the whole house, we staged it, we updated
Changed
the
lighting, I
appliances,
think.
changed some light fixtures, and I told him I would have listed that home at $420. We could have justified that and probably been pushing value at $420 without doing anything. Because he spent that money and he listened to us, which was awesome. We listed at $450, and that thing sold for $480 cash. So, he made $60,000 by spending 12 and listening to us. And that's the power of staging and we staged the main living rooms, the master bedroom, the loft, and I think maybe one other bedroom as an office. And we didn't even stage the whole house, but so huge.
That was a little different floor plan, if I remember too.
Yeah.
Downstairs.
Yes.
Just setting that up. You kind of walk right through the middle of the living room.
Yes.
But we set it and it was great. Something you said, maybe it'll come back to me. Go ahead.
No, but I mean, I think so. Had he not done that, how much money would he have left on the table?
Yeah, I mean, and it would have sold hands down, no
Sure.
doubt, in that market. But I love that we treat everybody the same. I don't care if it's $250,000 house or if it's $1.2 million.
Or if it's a buyer's market or a
Or
seller's market.
right.
Or even if it's an absolutely beautiful home with a homeowner that has a great eye for design, I still love bringing you guys in because I feel like there are oftentimes subtle things that they can do that they don't even realize, right? And again, for us, we just don't ever want to skimp, and we don't want to take it for granted that we've caught everything. You guys spend much more time with our sellers than we do in terms of prepping the home. And so to me, it's invaluable. Even if there's only a few things that they change, sometimes those changes are really significant.
Right. And we want to remove objections, right? So if there is one objection that, causes the potential buyer to say next, we want to remove that objection.
Right. If it's in our control, right?
Yeah. we
So
do.
let's talk about, from a seller's perspective, what are some of the kind of basic things that you would advise that they do? Like if you had to give them your top 5 or top 10, these are things that you must do every time before you sell your home. What would those be?
Pre-pack, as we talked about before. Just sometimes there's just too much stuff in there, right? So we're going to pre-pack, saving time for when you get that offer right away, right? Cleaning. Everybody's standard for cleaning is a little different.
Yes.
So it's clean it again.
Yes.
All of those things. We talk about function and flow when we're with them. So think about when you walk into a room, we don't want to see the back of the sofa, right? We want to open up that space, showcase the square footage of that home. Light is huge, right? Flooding the natural light in, be sure your light bulbs are bright as they can be.
And all the same.
And all the same, not the yellow, because the yellow will make your photos look dingy and old.
Yeah.
And when we say clean, just piggybacking on that includes the windows.
Yes.
In Arizona,
Yes.
there's such a film
Yes.
that we get,
Yes.
from the dust
Yes.
and everything. And so letting that light in, it's amazing how much it makes a difference. And so sometimes we forget about that, right? Like they forget, the windows too. And that is really a pain when there's a 2-story house they have to deal with, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And inside and out,
Yeah,
right?
inside
And
and
that's
out.
so
As
important.
soon as you
Sure.
come up curb,
Yeah.
right there, while you're all getting in the door, they're standing there looking all around. So being sure first impressions
What about
always matter.
depersonalization?
Deep, yep.
What about that? Why is that important?
We want the buyer to visualize themselves living there, not be thinking, I wonder who these people
look at this
are,
cute
or
family.
we know them,
Yes.
or whatever. We don't want them to be distracted. We want it to be so neutral and depersonalized
Yes.
that when they walk in, they see themselves.
Yes.
It's their home,
Yeah.
their
Yes.
potential home, their experience, their emotional connection.
Even though it's not their
others.
furniture, maybe not
Yeah.
their design
Exactly.
style.
It's almost a lifestyle,
It's
right?
for sure.
Like
Yeah,
if they're
that's what we're
looking for
selling, a
new
lifestyle.
lifestyle.
I love that.
I think the other thing about depersonalization is that these photos go on the World Wide Web. And if there are children's photos hanging on the wall and their name above the crib, that's just not safe. So we just try to eliminate that as well, just to keep them safe. We talk about, when we're doing a consultation, all of the safety things too as well, like to
Oh, that's
protect
great.
their names and to protect, if there's weapons and things like that. We want to cover all of that. There's so much to think about when you're getting ready to move, and we want to be sure
Medications.
medication, packing that away, that gets stolen, sadly.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
I think the
I've had it
last
happen.
family we were with had a few animals, and I don't know that they'd even thought about what they were going to do with those animals
Yeah.
until we came, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
Odor, and nobody really wants to talk about that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that can be our job.
Yeah.
We do that, and
Well-
we come across as the professional coming in,
Yes.
no judgment.
Yes.
We wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't tell you
Yes.
these things. If you have a pet, assume you have
Yeah.
an odor.
Yes.
Kind of go at
Even
it
though they
that
may
way.
not smell it.
Right.
Even though you may not smell it, they probably don't. And
You-
even
you-
if we don't, we want to be sure that they're taking care of it, like with the dog food or whatever it is. And
So
have-
putting that stuff away is so
Away.
important for showing.
You almost have to prepare for a pregnant mom who's coming
Yes.
in and they have a very heightened sense of smell.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I was listening to an interview with Barbara Corcoran, I think is her name.
Yeah.
She's on,
Yeah.
That's right. She's on Shark Tank.
Corcoran?
Yep.
Yeah, how do you say it? How do you say it?
Corcoran. Corcoran.
Corcoran. Okay. Barbara is what I call
I'm just
her.
impressed you were listening to her.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, so I discovered she handles her process the way we do, where we go into the listing appointment and we're securing the appointment or the listing. That's our primary objective in our job, to help them. But we're not going to go around and tell them all the little things they need to change. We rely on you to do that. And I think it's appropriate to do that because
It protects your relationship
it
with
does.
them, right?
It does. And I mean, we'll tell them big things. Like, let's say, hey, yeah, we probably need to update the cabinets or something, something like that. But the little things, we prefer to let you guys do that because you are the professionals.
What
And
I
they
love
listen
about
to us.
working with y'all too is that it's a fiduciary responsibility that you all have, right? You want to serve your client, and the best way to do that
Yeah.
is to do everything you do, going
sure.
above and beyond, and
Yeah.
that's everything.
I think it's just super helpful, right? Because we get that all the time. Do you think I should do this or should I do that? Right? There's so much and that's a thing we say to them too, right? We do this every day. You only are going to do this a few times your entire life. So we will help, right? And make this process easier. And also you guys are great to that point of making it easier. Some people get overwhelmed. Do I have to bring in furniture? Do I have to buy stuff? No, oftentimes you guys can take what they have and say, let's
Yes.
move this from this room over here, put this plant here instead of there, showing off some of those things. That's so helpful. So there isn't an expense involved. Oftentimes if they're living there, right, they can use what they have.
I have to tell you, my first experience with staging was when we sold our home in Missouri before we moved here. And this lady was awesome. She went in our garage and she found several old barn windows and a shutter, and she puts them on the wall in our living room. And then she takes these little metal stars off of this wreath that Kara had, and she made them, like, she stuck them into the drywall, like in this little whimsical pattern thing. I'm like, holy cow. And I never would have thought of that, right? But it was just an eye piece
It
when
was
people
probably
walked
drawing people's eye to something,
Yeah, it was
right?
super
in the
cool.
direction we wanted it to go.
in. We
And
liked it
that's
so
the
much
thing.
we took a picture of it and duplicated it in our house
Nice.
here, which was neat.
We
But
do hear that a lot after you come through with
Yeah.
like, I never thought of doing this with my furniture, which is really cool too.
It is fun. We've had people who, after it's done, they say, maybe we don't want to go.
We
Yeah.
hear that
We
too.
don't want to
Yes, yes.
And we say, no, the home selling team.
Yes.
They've got you.
Yes. Thank you.
speaking of that, so what other services do you provide besides the home staging with us?
Yeah.
That consultation, I
Yeah.
guess.
So we do the consultation and then we can come back, right? So that's for the occupied market. We can come back, we can just use what they have, and we call that a photo style, getting their house ready for photos. We like to do that right before photos.
Yeah.
And then we also can bring in an accessory and art package. Once in a while, we can bring in, say they just need a dining table, right? Their dining room has been a playroom or an office or something. And we always want to stage it, and what am I trying to say? Like the room as it was
Yes.
intended
Yeah.
to be. That's very important. We want to remove confusion as well in the buyer's
Right.
eye. So helping with that floor plan. So we do that. And then we stage vacant homes as well. And we do redesign and short-term rental, full setup for short-term rental as well. Is that all we do?
You guys will also
that
come
all?
in
We're busy.
and help when they when they do move into their new home and
Yes.
consult
Yes,
with them
we
too.
can do that.
Freestyle.
Yes.
Which is what you did with us.
Yeah.
Yes,
which
that
is
was
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
It was fun to go with you. And
So
do that.
basically, they walked through our house with us and just gave us ideas on each room, and
Yeah,
it was cool.
that's
So
awesome.
that
now I
was
have
fun.
way too much work to do.
I know. We just made
How are
you
you
a
doing on
large
that list?
It's coming along.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's coming along.
Yes.
So, okay, so we're kind of giving some tips, right?
Yeah.
So, first impression's really important. Editing or decluttering, as we would say. Having focal points, using the room as as it's intended, really showing off that intended use.
I have two more.
Yes.
Repairs. So important.
Yes.
So look around, look at your vents, look at all of the things that you don't really recognize, you just forget you live there, right? So make sure all of those repairs are done, holes in the walls, fixtures, and then updating lighting. So if there's a builder grade or outdated lighting fixture, for minimal investment, and that's what it is an investment, you can replace a chandelier for just a couple of $100s, and it makes a huge
does.
difference. We
Yeah.
did that in
Chilton.
yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
And we did that on Timberline too, just recently.
Yeah.
They replaced
It's
the-
about that perceived value,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
If they see an older, outdated
Right.
light fixture,
Right. It tells a story.
it tells a
does.
story. Like, well,
Of-
what else have they not
right,
updated? What
right.
else have they not taken care of? Right. So they.
I love, and this is a big one, and we've done this several times. Doorknobs, oftentimes they're dated, right? Sometimes they're even brass,
Yes.
and that's super dated. Although brass is coming back, right? But
It's a different.
not in that
Yeah.
way,
Finish, yeah.
right?
Different
And but yeah, updating the doorknobs can have a huge handles, right?
Huge.
Faucets. Another one
Doormats.
Another one I absolutely love is painting the baseboards.
Yes.
Our
Huge.
baseboards take a beating,
Huge.
and that it just pops, right? I've had houses where we've only painted trim and doors, and clients are like, "Did you paint the whole thing?"
Yes.
No, that's all we did.
Exactly.
Right. And it just is
Exactly,
huge. A friend of mine said that your baseboards tell a story of the home, right? How well cared for is it? And if the baseboards are dinged up and dirty, that's not the best story that we
No.
want to be told, right?
and they're
if
easily overlooked.
right.
Yeah. And we want to create an emotional connection with our buyers and the home, right? So we might set up a little vignette out in the patio. There's
I love
coffee.
that.
There's, I totally can see
Yes.
myself living here, right?
I love that.
Again, it's that perceived value
Yes.
raising
Right.
that lifestyle that we're really trying to sell to.
Well, yeah. And today people are looking on their phones, right? When they're looking and they're swiping.
Yes.
Swipe.
Yes.
We want them to stop and we
Yes.
want them to schedule a showing.
Yes.
And if there's nothing to see and it's outdated
Yes.
and there's a better one when they
Yes.
swipe, it's just going to get missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, for us, a part of our process after you guys come through, we say the same thing, right? We're going to bring our stager. That's the very first thing we're going to do is have our stager come through. They're going to walk the home. They're going to spend a few hours going room by room with you, telling you what to do to get it ready. That then becomes your checklist of what to do to get it ready. Then we want to address any maintenance items. So if there's anything that, to your point earlier, that needs to be repaired that you're like, oh, I know I've been meaning to get to that. Let's get to it. And what's great about working with us is we have vendors that
Yes.
will be ready and able and do a great job that you
Yes.
can call on at any minute. So we want to address those. And then once all of that's done, then we bring in a professional photographer, videographer, and do professional photos and video. And we say this all the time, that everybody's online looking at homes before they ever call a realtor. So that means for you as a seller, your home has to show up not only everywhere, but it needs to show up really well.
Yeah.
We want to visually entice those buyers to want to come in and see it.
It's their first showing.
It is. And I think between all of those things, starting with the staging, it really allows for that. that. And then what's awesome about having the home beautifully staged is when the buyer walks in, that's when they fall in love. And that's when they say, oh my goodness, I can imagine living here, right?
Yeah. And so there's that value, right? So we want the most out of our equity, right?
Yes.
And so we can't present here and hope to get
Expect,
here.
yes.
So we've got to raise that value.
So
to
maybe
meet
we should
that
have
price.
started with this. What are the main benefits of staging? So number one, the home is almost always going to sell for more money, right? Almost always.
Yeah. So consider carrying costs
Yes.
Right.
as you consider the investment of staging.
Right.
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 And it's always less than the first price reduction.
Yeah, well, especially now.
Yeah.
So I had a listing where we dropped the price $25,000.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily it was staged. It was already it was lived in. But had it been vacant and we didn't stage it, I mean, why not spend even $5,000 staging it before you do that?
Let's
Right.
talk numbers, right? The average price reduction that we're seeing in the valley is $10,000.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I haven't had a house anywhere close to $10,000 to stage, right?
Yeah. And we say that your home is never more valuable than the first day on the market. Hit
yes,
strong.
always. You come
Hit
with your
strong.
best foot forward. You want to
Yes.
make a good first impression.
Yes.
So we're doing one right now. It's a Beautify where we luckily were able to get them moved out, and I had them keep only the things in the house that they're going to stage. So those moved to the garage. So now we're vacant. New carpet all upstairs, and new paint in the entire house. Once that's done, which will be I hope tomorrow, we come in clean, bring all the furniture back in and stage, and then we're ready for the photography. So
That's awesome.
it's huge. Okay, so it sells for more money. Another one
Sells quicker.
sells faster,
Sells
right?
faster.
So think about the inconvenience that it is to have open houses and to have showings, right? If you can condense that into hopefully a day, then now it's super convenient and it's so fast. And usually you're going to get more just because it sells
Right.
faster.
And we were talking buyer's agents earlier. Buyer's agents love to show staged homes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Because they know that's going to be a return for
Yes.
them as well.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's like selling a car, right? If your presentation, you've got a rusty old car, it might be clean, but it's a rusty old car. It's not going to be as
Yep.
much. You're not
Right.
going to get that return.
Yeah.
Like you.
It's
So-
marketing. It's
It's
the
marketing.
It
same
is.
with
Yep.
anything,
Yep.
but
Right.
It is.
it just gets overwhelming for buyers when they're in the process.
Yes.
So we're
well,
you
and
guys
it's
help them
personal
so
for
much.
them.
It
and
is
that's another
personal.
thing too is
Yes.
they're living in there. It's like
Yeah.
me and my home, and I try to relate to them and say the same
Yes.
thing. That if I was to sell my home, I would need you guys to come in and tell me what to do.
When I sold ours, Jamie came to my house and did a
Yes.
consultation.
And she's
I'm
like, really?
Yes.
wait, I don't see that.
Right? But it's because we live in it, so we
do.
tailor our home to our daily
Yes.
life.
Yes.
And selling is different than
So,
that.
so here's a tip I would throw out to all sellers out there that are going through this process. And obviously, delivery is super important in how you do it, and you guys are amazing at that. But as a seller, I'd say put the pride away a little bit and just know that how we live in the house, like you said, is different than how we stage. And we're trying to appeal to the vast majority of buyers out there, not just a little group that loves
Yeah.
a certain team that you have all over your
Right.
den, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
neutral colors, those types of things.
Well, and that's, I was just going to bring that up. I think that's another really important but powerful piece is the paint colors. So a lot of times people personalize their paint colors and they do really pretty. I just was at one the other day, really pretty blue in the kitchen, really pretty red in the living room, right? And they were asking me, do we paint
we
it?
keep
And I
it?
said,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
do.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I said, I know it's just going to be very neutral color, one color throughout, right? It's a very light, keep it light and bright. And she was like, oh, I was hoping you wouldn't say that. And I'm like, I know, but, and they were beautiful colors,
Yeah.
right? But it's just, again, trying to appeal to the masses.
And you can
Not
run.
everybody loves blue.
Yes.
You could test the market, right? But now your group is going to go
Right.
to this.
Exactly.
It's all the ladies that love blue in their kitchen, right?
One of the
Yeah.
questions I get too a lot is, well, what if someone doesn't like the carpet we chose or someone doesn't like the paint color? The point is it's fresh and new.
Yes.
That's a selling feature.
Yes.
And then it eliminates that need or that feeling of, oh, well, I have to change this when I
Right.
move in.
I can
Even
do it
if they
later.
don't
Yeah.
like it, they can do that, change that down the
Right.
road. But right
Right.
now they can move and it's getting new, fresh,
And
right?
those two
That's selling.
things, are very minimal in cost.
They really are.
Well,
and buyers think
buyers-
it costs
they think
more,
it costs more.
right?
They do.
So we talk about this too on the flip side. Let's say you don't do those
Right.
things. Almost always the cost to have it done is inflated immensely in their minds.
By the
Right.
buyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
may be a $2,000 thing and it's now $10,000 in
Yeah.
their mind and they're
Exactly.
worried about it. They
I
don't
just
do it.
had-
and that's an objection.
Yes.
Right. I just had buyers and we did the inspection and they said, we need $14,000 for these repairs. And I
Yeah.
said, okay, well, I think it's a lot less. So let's get estimates. And it ended up being about a $4,000 credit.
Yeah, isn't that
But in
crazy?
their mind, they thought 14,000, right?
Exactly.
So that's
it's
just what
better
happens.
for the seller to just take
Yes.
care of that.
Yes.
Increase
Yes.
the asking price,
Yes.
right?
And again, if everyone's starting their search online by looking at the photos, they're going to pass it if it needs new carpet or fresh paint, right?
Yep.
If they're like, oh, I don't want to have to bother with that, I'll move on. And especially in this market, when there's so many choices, they don't have to. They
Right.
can
Right.
move on and look at the next one.
That's right. That's right.
And that's a great design tip if you're getting ready to paint. Paint neutral.
Yes.
Put your blues in your pillows and your
Yes.
pillows.
I love
and
that.
do all that.
I love that.
Because then we all, right? After a while, we want to
Oh,
change
yes.
things.
And if you want an
So
accent
change-
wall, go for it, but that's
Yes.
easy to switch out
Yes,
later. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So statistically, we know this, that less than 10%
Yes.
of the population is capable of visualizing what the home should look like, right? So that's
Scale.
another reason.
Yeah, they can't. They don't understand. Is our sofa going to fit here? You know, does our dining room fit?
Where
It
does the
looks
TV go in this
smaller.
space?
Where does
Yeah.
the TV go? And when it's staged, it removes all of
Yes.
those questions.
Yes.
They just see themselves living there. They forget, like, we didn't even think about where to put the Christmas
Right.
tree, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? That's a struggle for us in our new build.
Didn't we solve that while we were there?
There's
I
one
think we
spot.
did.
There's one spot for the circular
Yes.
stairway. But
It's
now
gonna be
on the
amazing.
other side, we're like, where do we put this? Because there's just not a really good space. So we're going to have to be really smart about what tree we select. So it's tough. But I was thinking about another reason why, and we don't talk about this a lot, but another reason why staging is important for us is it helps us justify the value of that listing
That's right.
as we're pushing value.
Exactly.
Right.
So our goal is to get that seller as much money as we can, right? And there's no cooler feeling than when we set a record for that model in that community. So that's what we're shooting for, but we have to be smart about how we price that. And the staging allows us to justify that even more.
We always say there are 3 things that are important in selling a home: price, promotion, and presentation. So price and promotion, that's your expertise.
Yes.
You guys know exactly how to
Yes.
do that. And presentation is ours.
Yes.
And as we are a team, we can take care of all
Yes.
3 of those.
Yes.
three
I love
Ps.
that.
The 3 Ps.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
What other tips, like that kind of stuff, statistics, anything that you would share?
Things are changing so fast right now that statistics are even hard to
It
keep
is.
up with. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the statistics we had
Oh, yeah.
6
The
last
months ago,
market?
Yeah.
last month, you know, are changing.
Yeah.
So we're working on it, but we are still seeing that homes are selling faster if they're because the principle is still the same. It doesn't matter
Always.
what kind of market. It doesn't
doesn't.
matter what's going on, the
Right.
interest rate.
I actually
still the
had
same thing.
I actually had one I was just thinking about. So I read this a brief little article. It was a 2018 study, 4,200 homes that were staged. 68% of them sold for 9% more
Yeah.
Yeah.
than unstaged homes.
Absolutely.
So that alone
Yep.
is why would you not do it?
Well, and I
Exactly.
think in
And
this
I think,
market,
7% more, I believe.
7
Was
to
it?
9 and
Okay.
and that with like a
And I'm sure
1%
faster.
investment.
yeah,
Wow.
right. So
Yeah.
the numbers it's totally to their benefit. Well, and I think even more in this market, like what we were just talking about, it's even more important that the home shows up well.
Yeah.
They have more competition, more choices. So
I don't know. I don't think we've, with a few exceptions, ever sold a home that wasn't staged. It might have been maybe an investor that had a property that they just refused to stage it,
Yeah.
right? And they arguably would have made a lot more money had they done it, but
I think
almost all.
I think the challenging thing is when you get someone who's lived in their home for like 20 or 30 years and they are so connected not only to their, like they've raised their children there, they've, experienced so much of life. And then, we come in
right.
and ask them to pack things away and move things around or whatever it is. And there's a process. It's mental.
Yeah.
It's helping them understand that now this home that you've lived in for 20 or 30 years it's a transformation in their mind. It's a product to be marketed, and trying to help them understand that is challenging.
Yeah.
is.
And
You
it
have a tough
takes
job.
time. Yeah. Sometimes those are the hardest, I would say. And so we have to slow down, right? Slow down. Talk to them, meet them where they're at, and help them understand why we're making the
Right.
recommendations we're
Right.
making, why you're making the recommendations you're making. We're all on the same team. Theirs.
Yes, right.
So,
At the end of the
yeah.
day, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, it is. And
So-
but those are the challenging ones, and we feel so bad, and they love their whatever it
That's
is,
where the
their
empathy comes in.
antiques and their tea
Right,
sets
right.
and
Yeah.
the things. And we have to remind them that's not what we're selling. We don't want to draw
Yes.
attention to that.
Yes.
We want to draw attention to the fixed assets of the home.
Yes.
Yeah. So you come in with an authoritative, that experience and that professionalism that can speak volumes to them. So that's where we really edify you guys and say, okay, they're going to come in, they're trained in this, and this is what they do all day. But tell us about some horror experiences you've had. Do you have any?
Horror.
Do you have any?
Back in
crazy
the
ones?
day,
Yeah.
Suzanne and I, before we had a team, like we had gloves in our car.
Oh.
We had,
Yeah. Recently it was going to be vacant, but there was a renter in there, and they did give us a heads up. She's a germaphobe. We might have talked
Oh,
about
yes,
this at
I
our last
remember
one.
that.
Yeah.
yeah. So we had to meet her where she was at,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
We just had to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I
you
mean, that's the
gloved
fun
up?
part, right? We deal
was
with the
hard.
public and
What
we have
about-
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray.
Oh.
He was so sweet.
Yeah.
So sweet. But he
Yeah.
loved his things. And his things weren't
More
quite
than
ready
he
for
cared.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but he fell in love with one of our team members, and
Oh,
she
good.
is so winsome
Right.
with people.
Oh,
And
good.
she
She's
just,
watering his plants.
in fact,
taking
you showed
care
up,
of
right?
him.
And he
yeah,
said,
he's like, "Where's Cassidy?" And I'm like,
Oh, sorry to disappoint you. Yeah.
yeah. I think one of the fun stories is we
Yes.
drove up to a home and the buyer or the seller had hired a new realtor. And so he's sending us in and he met us at the car. Suzanne and I were together
yeah.
back in the day. He met us at the car and he said, "I know you're here, but I'm not doing anything."
Oh,
And that house had been on the market
6 months.
6 months.
No showings.
No showings.
Not
Wow.
one.
Not one.
And it had the most amazing views of downtown Phoenix.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It
So what did you
but
do?
nobody got to experience it. We said, okay, well, we were hired to,
Yes.
to do this. So he let us in. So we went through his entire house, custom, beautiful home, very large.
both of you were there?
Yeah, we
Yes.
both were there on this
Good.
one. And at the end, we sat down and he started talking to us about carrying costs and what they were for him and how upside down he was.
Yeah.
And so we talked about the investment in staging.
Yes.
At the end, and he one of those orange wall, yellow
every
wall,
color.
green
Oh.
wall, like just
Wow.
he wasn't going to do anything, right? At the end of it, he's painting the whole thing neutral, replacing all the carpet, having cleaners come in and asking us, "What else do you want me to
Yeah.
do?"
I love that.
right?
Wow.
And he did, and it sold.
I think it's
in.
because the why's behind, right? We told him
Yeah,
the
we
why.
told him the
That's
why
exactly what it
behind.
comes down to. Is just that
Exactly.
education process with the
Right.
sellers. Once you educate them,
Yes, it
and,
is
and
about
what I think is
education.
great is we have a lot of those real life examples to share with them where they can say, "Oh, wow,
Yeah.
right."
Yeah, and so that house sold in 2 weeks.
3, I think.
3
3
weeks?
weeks, but it was in a
Just
time. Yeah.
yeah. After 6 months of not
Not
one
one.
showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
we
and
have
we
those
brought
stories too,
accessories
so those are
in.
great.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
actually the fun part is telling the
Yes,
stories
it
why
is.
Right.
it
is.
works.
Yeah.
So, okay, this was awesome. I want to ask you guys before we end, what are some trends you're seeing for 2022? Some design trends. What's like a great paint color? We want to know all the fun design trends.
I'll tell you what's
Neutral
not in
paint
trend.
colors.
Okay, okay.
Gray is kind of moving out.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
It is. It's
Yes.
moving out.
If you love it,
Paint your
great.
house gray. Yeah,
Yes.
it's great.
If you're going to sell, though, don't do that.
No, and the problem with gray is there's so many undertones.
Tones.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Ryan
might
knows
look
that
Oh, I
purple,
know.
it
too
might
well.
look blue, it might look pink, right? Like
Oh
it's,
man, let me just say this. So I learned the hard way. We went to Home Depot and found the awesome gray color we
perfect.
loved, right? And that light.
Yes.
Then
Lighting
I
is
give it to my
everything.
painter, and he was working on a rental
Yes.
property. And I get there when he's almost finished with the interior, and it is blue.
Yes.
It's baby blue.
Yep.
In
Light
most
is
rooms.
light matters
Yes.
so
Oh,
much.
it was
Yes.
so heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the trends.
Dark browns, chocolate browns are back.
Browns
back.
are coming back.
The
If you
For the
kitchen,
walls?
right? Kitchen cabinets.
Not for the walls, but accessories,
Yes.
furniture, curvy furniture
Yes.
is coming in. Yeah. Organic texture is
Which we love
another
that.
thing we do.
So what color walls would you say? White?
White.
Yes.
White is,
I love
white
white.
is it.
White is good for selling. If you're staying and you don't want white, then there's kind of some colors that are more like not pink, but for accessory or for just your
Like
accent
accent walls?
walls or accessories, maybe a little bit of a salmon or pink. What is that color? It's like if you look at Sherwin-Williams color of the year,
I
it's
saw
really
that.
like a terracotta.
I was really
like,
Pretty, isn't
I was
it is-
surprised.
yeah, not everybody loves it, and I don't know if I would paint a wall that color, but I
Right.
definitely would use
Is it more of like a
accessories.
boho type?
Yeah, it is more.
Okay.
of a
And
boho.
white, how many whites are there?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
gosh, right?
Again,
Isn't
white
that
can
true?
look so
Yeah.
different.
So
in
true.
light.
Yellowish.
So you can't just pick
Yellow,
one.
blue,
Yeah.
pink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depends on the undertone and the lighting.
Okay, so
fun.
in terms of figuring out your color, what's the best way to do that and know it's the right one?
Hire a professional.
Oh,
So what does that mean? A color specialist?
Color consultation. Yeah, we do that too.
Okay, there
Color
you go.
Suzanne.
consultant.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. You have it.
so we like to end our time with you guys with a rapid fire
Yes.
question.
Hey,
So
Suzanne is ready.
I'm gonna go with you, Suzanne, and then Ryan, you get Jamie. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
You ready?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any pets?
No pets.
Okay, no pets.
Why do,
love that question.
why do you laugh?
Do we even
Because
you
all the
answer?
dogs, if we go in somewhere, she's the dog person.
Oh,
I am.
Lick my toes.
They do, and
I'm
she's like,
not a dog
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
does.
You can have
I,
dogs.
I love dogs too, but I've had some weird experiences in people's homes with.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I have the cutest little French bulldog.
Oh, nice.
I remember one of those times.
Yeah. Yeah.
I won't go into detail, but
Yeah.
the dog
We
very
can only
much liked
imagine.
Ryan.
It
Is
was-
all
Oh,
I
no.
will say. Very much.
It's
liked him.
ridiculous.
Yes.
All right. Have you read any intriguing books lately?
Oh, well, I read the Bible every day.
I
Okay.
love that. That's a good one.
Intriguing enough?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. What is your favorite way to unwind?
Oh, sitting on the back patio with a cold drink and
Oh.
just chit-chatting with my husband, just ending the day, how his day was, how my day was. I love that. And we love spending time with our kids and our grandkids.
Oh,
it's my
I love
favorite
that.
thing.
Yes. Yes.
Very cool. What is the best concert you've ever been to?
Oh, goodness.
You know, just from Saturday.
Celine Dion, I guess.
Oh,
okay.
fun. That'd probably be a
I mean,
good
that was a
one.
long time ago. It's something that I remember. Or Garth Brooks.
They start
Garth
way
Brooks.
too late.
Yeah.
They
I know
do.
they do, actually.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
just
they
went
are.
to
I don't go to
one.
concerts anymore.
And I'm like, it's like an hour and they haven't even come on yet.
Yeah.
Okay, Suzanne, what is the most helpful thing that you own?
Oh, I would say my Roomba,
Oh,
I believe.
that's pretty helpful.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Okay.
you
to
don't
not
have
on as
to
I
do it.
leave the house.
Yeah.
and-
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself living in retirement?
Ooh, right where we're at.
Okay.
Oh, I
Okay.
love that.
Gilbert, Arizona.
Okay.
And what is the last thing you do before going to bed?
I'm just trying to think.
I know.
Probably wash my face and brush my teeth.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say kiss my husband. That's usually after.
Right, right.
But I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How would you title this chapter of your life?
Oh,
That's a good question.
Ooh, how would I title this chapter of my life? Better than the last.
Okay.
I like it.
2020.
That's a good title.
Okay, who knows you the best?
Oh, my hubby and then Jamie.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Last one. Who's the smartest person you know?
Whoa.
I just gave you
Smedley
kudos.
Yates.
Would you say? Yeah. I said, well,
He's our pastor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
his
is
name
his
is
name?
Smedley?
Smed.
Smed,
It's not
yeah, we
real-
call him
his real
Smed.
name, but
Yeah.
his daddy used to call him that.
Yeah.
And it's
Smed.
stuck.
Smed Yates. Yep, look him up. He's very smart.
I love
That's a
that.
sick nickname.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. This was
Thank you
super
for
fun.
having
We
us.
appreciate it. We always love learning more and sharing our stories because, again, you are such a big, important part of our business and we're such believers in what you do. So
Well, it's
we
an
appreciate
honor to
it.
represent you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.